Okay, it's 7 o'clock on Tuesday, January 25th. I want to call the City of Twinsburg Caucus meeting to order. Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Bellin?
Here.
Mr. Post?
Here.
Mrs. Labby? Here. Mrs. Walker?
Present.
Okay, I don't see any presentations or anybody have any items that they want to discuss right now. Okay, audience participation.
Yes, we have Sue Clark.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Law Director, Sue Clark, 9845 Crestwood Drive. At the December 14th meeting, I spoke about the private and city plows and how these drivers plow on the sidewalks. As you can see from the post on all 3 social media pages, this is an issue for residents. I've also presented some photos as well. My husband and our neighbor have no problem snow blowing sidewalks for our elderly neighbors. As you can see from the photos, there's no way to get through the large mounds at the end of the driveways. I did see that under Chapter 767.02, permit required and display of decal. I believe that that is what Mr. Baldwin has been asking about. Can you tell me where the decals are located on the trucks and what they look like? Nobody, because I have no idea. Okay, I just wanted to know because it's going to make a presentation for that. Also, please note the definitions under letter B. Sidewalks are called out well under 767.07 and prohibited acts. I would like to make a suggestion that we get window clings for the back of the windows about a 5x7 size that says T-Berg 1 and through however many trucks we have, if there's 200. Now this is small, this is all I could print. But make this large, make it a window cling like you get your oil ones, and then that way they can put it in the back of the truck. And if there's an issue with a truck plowing in a mailbox, plowing in a sidewalk, plowing across the driveways and across the streets and ripping up grass, we can then, the resident can make a suggestion, and if they see an issue, they can call the building department and they can talk to these drivers. This way, if I see truck 25 doing something, I'm not out there arguing with truck 25. I'm calling the building department and saying, hey, they just plowed in our sidewalks. They plowed in our mailboxes.
So you're
I don't
talking
have
the
to go out
private
there.
plows,
Yes.
right, Sue?
Private, city, sorry, they do it as well. Those pictures are from them as well. Now, I get it, there's a ton of snow out there, but this happens every year. It's not the first time. So then they could talk to these drivers, and if they have multiple repeat offenders, they'd be able to take this issue up instead of residents taking it up. I did look at the VMS website, because I know they do a lot for the city, and I believe that they could make these window clings, and then you guys could add the cost to the permit. Probably wouldn't be that much money, but I know they can do it because I did look that up. I know that this is the most snow that we've had in a long time, but this happens every year. In our neighborhood, we have signs that say no snow here. I mean, literally, they put them up at the crosswalks where they're rigid for handicap. So I know that it keeps happening. I think more people would be willing to help out their neighbors. I know we are. Tim would take that snow blower all the way up the street if he could. Last year, we spent $400 because we bent and broke the cotter pin trying to get through those mounds. So it isn't that people don't want to help. I think you guys would find people in every neighborhood willing to shovel sidewalks, willing to help, willing to plow, willing to do whatever they needed to help out their neighbors. But you guys took the time to write regulations. If we don't make the plow guys do it, you can't hold people from the city responsible trying to get them to do their end. And this happens, I mean, you guys can see from the post, I just picked the 3 pages and just printed the first couple comments. It's everywhere. So I think that you guys did a great job. I mean, as you can see, I actually copied the ordinances that are there for the plowing. I've read them. They're great. They're written specific. And I think that if we could take some time to maybe hold these people accountable, make them do what they're supposed to do, I have no doubt that we could get every city in this sidewalk in the city clear. We talk about making it a walkable downtown. Everybody in the acres uses those sidewalks. I mean, our elderly use them to go to their mailboxes. They don't want to get out on the roads. Every kid needs them. We use them to walk our dog. So I think if we could team together and maybe do something where residents aren't arguing with the plow guys, we could really do something great. And, you know, if you guys need, want me to look into it, I'd be glad to make phone calls to see what the decals would cost I have no problem doing that. I mean, I want to do my part to help, but I think until we hold those plow guys accountable or even know that they're registered, I can't tell you how many guys I think were on Crestwood that weren't, they're not even registered here in the city. They have no idea how to even plow here.
Right.
Because they're plowing across the road. They didn't know,
Right.
so I thought maybe that would be something that we could all work towards. So that's all I got.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
It sounds like enforcement's the issue here. I mean, I'm sure we have some that are registered, and she's probably right, there's some, I see them in my neighborhood too, it's the same thing. And, these guys are pushing snow across the street where they're not supposed to. And I think it's enforcement, how we can do that, maybe, Mayor, it's something you could talk to
Yeah, I think
Keith
enforcement-
about, and, maybe come up with something. I don't know.
Yeah, we had a department head meeting yesterday, and I did mention to Keith about this issue, to see if we could come up with some type of decal or something that could be put on a truck, or a fleet of trucks, depending on the plow guy. But yeah, enforcement's going to be the biggest issue. I mean, we're going to need the residents to help out with the enforcement part of it, because again, we get big snowstorms. I'm sure that people are coming from all over into Twinsburg, because, I mean, if you look on social media, there's 1,000 posts of people begging people to come dig them out of their driveway.
Mayor, do we know how many plow operators we have registered this year in the city?
I don't know the exact number of who we have
Yeah, I would just
registered.
be curious. I guess the first question is.
We do publish it on our website, so
Right.
I could maybe try to find it.
Yeah, I would imagine not all of them are. I'm just curious how, what percentage are
Right.
actually, registered. And then I guess to your point, Mr. Scafidi, the question becomes who monitors, who,
Right.
How do you enforce that?
Well, the question becomes, you only know the percentage of who's registered if you knew the total number. How you would possibly know the total number
Right.
of people out
Right.
there would probably be impossible,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is that truly the problem's not unique to Twinsburg. It happens in every community, trust me. Everyone that I've worked in, I mean, we've always had the same problem every winter. It's a little difficult to track everybody because you don't know who's coming into town during the day. But I mean, if we had some type of, if our licensing for them was stringent enough that we can identify that way and find out who these people are and be able to monitor it, that I think that would help the situation a little bit.
And it does get challenged. I mean,
It's hard.
I mean, we've gotten probably close to 2 feet of snow in a
Right.
10-day period. And I mean, finding out where to take the snow, I mean, and push the snow too. I mean, that's the biggest problem. I mean, when the apartment complex that I went up to, that we helped dig out, the 28 cars in the garages. I mean, we literally brought in a front end loader and a truck and hauled it off because there was nowhere to put the snow. So, I mean, that gets really challenging on a bunch of side streets, but, and, I mean, they can't push it in middle of people's front yards, so most of them push it at the end of the driveway, which then blocks the sidewalk, but then you're talking about a 8-foot mountain to try to cut through.
That's because they back drive. Like the guy across the street from us, his guy back drives a quarter, pushes it to each side. Back drives a quarter, pushes it to each side. Back drives the end and pushes it in, not on the sidewalk. So that's because they're back driving all the way. When they get there, they've got enough snow to keep them.
Yeah.
That's part of teaching them how they should plow around. You know?
The problem is they're plowing it between 4 and 6 in the morning a lot.
Well,
So, again, there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, and they've got
There's
probably
a lot
got
of
100 people that they're trying to get done
Right.
before 6 a.m.
Right. It's
Right,
just-
and they're
there's a
doing it
lot
as
of
fast as they can, not necessarily the best way. You're not wrong though.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and I think you're right, sir. I think that if there was a number big enough, they'd be more inclined to be okay,
Yeah,
am I doing this
right.
right? Because now everyone can see my number and,
Exactly.
And I don't-
They do have it spelled out what happens to them.
Yeah.
So if I see a guy plowing that doesn't have a decal, he's plowing across from my driveway into my yard, you better believe I'm asking him, are you registered? If you're not, give me a phone call.
Right.
I mean, I think that's part of it, you just don't know who's what. I mean, I see they have decals and permits, I have no idea where to look on trucks for the city to see if they're registered. And I think that's what Mr. Baldwin is saying. He doesn't know where to look either, because it's not identified. And like I said, that was just something I threw together, you guys can do however big you want, as long as residents are aware I just think it's a good thing,
Right.
because you don't want people out of mailboxes fighting with people nowadays. It's just, that's not a good
That's true.
situation for any of our neighbors to be in.
Well,
Okay. All right.
do you penalize the plow people or the homeowner? Is the question also.
The plow people.
I mean, the plow people, but it's the
They-
homeowner that contracts them.
Right, snow's left in the yard of the homeowner, so.
I understand that, but it's the homeowner's decision to say, well, you can't do that. You need to.
What do you, I mean, what do you,
It's highlighted
No,
there.
how's the homeowner know
well, what
that?
do
They don't
you
live
do
there, so-
with 12 inches of snow on a 28 or 35-foot straight driveway with the garage at the end? You have no choice but to back drive it. I mean, I've operated enough heavy equipment in my life to know that the snow has to go somewhere.
Right.
I'm not saying that it should go in front of the sidewalks, but to your point, when Mrs. Johnson comes out of her house and says, you're not putting that snow in my yard, or you're not putting it on my rose bushes, I mean, I guess you're just backing out without plowing anything.
And you're right, Scott, but the guy on Crestwood who's plowed out of, and her name is Mrs. Johnson's driveway.
Oh, I did, that was, I'm sorry, I was just the pejorative Mrs. Johnson.
Right in front of the fire hydrant, they took cleaned out twice, that's what I'm saying.
It's tough, I've been snow blowing sidewalks all week, so
I'm not
I'm,
saying we have to come up with the solution tonight.
Right.
I'm saying that
Just
there's
melt the
got
snow.
to be ways, because
Torches.
this snowstorm has been a couple days going on,
amen.
but it has been years in my development, and the mayor can attest, we have a neighbor right at the end of our street that actually had you guys put up, do not plow snow here, because he uses the handicap.
Right.
They were all up last year.
I like the decal idea. I mean, I like some type of identifying, that's a great idea, Sue.
I mean, I don't
Okay,
know.
we need
I'm just
more.
saying that I'd love to help out the fire guys, but when that guy plowed in our fire hydrant, which Sam can drive by, the snow is now up to here. There's no way Tim can take that out.
Right,
He
right.
can't.
Oh, yeah,
He
you
blocked
shouldn't
it out
have to.
twice, and now it's like, okay, I can't help them.
Thank you, Sue, for bringing it up. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it? That's it. Okay, we'll move on to legislation. We have Resolution 06-2022. This resolution is for professional services contract for prosecutional services for the city. I've been practicing that word all week. I didn't want to say the wrong word. This contract is for Frank Benny, of course, who is our current prosecutor. Total amount would be $40,000 a year. I do want to add one thing to this. We've been asked to add emergency to this resolution to make it effective to January 1st, so there's no retro pay involved or anything like that. So, because the next pay run is this Friday, I believe, and so if we could do it as emergency tonight, that'll take care of that. Anybody have any objections? Okay, so when this is read at the council meeting, I will make a motion to add the emergency in there, and then we could vote on it then. Thank you. All right, Resolution 7-2022. This resolution is transfer of ownership of a service weapon from the city to former Sergeant Craig Bremner. Of course, we do this, as we all know, we do this every time when an officer retires from the city. So, any comments there? Okay, the next one is the same thing, Resolution 08-2022, and this one would be going to former Sergeant Tom Austin. Any questions there? All right, then we have 09-2022. This resolution is to honor Black History Month for the month of February in the city of Twinsburg. And we've done this annually as well. Are there any questions or comments here?
I was just wondering what they actually do.
What's that?
Are there any activities, or do they do anything
There.
for Black History?
Black History.
Oh.
I mean,
I don't know if the city has any type of
Schools do most of it.
activities. I think, yeah, probably mostly to the schools.
It's a resolution to recognize that February's, I mean,
it's
we
just
do
to
a- we do-
recognize.
It's a
not big,
recognition.
we
don't
do
anything.
lots of recognition. We'll get things from other communities or from the state that asks us to support a certain item, and as long as I've been here, we've done Black History Month, so.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll check with the schools and see, because I think last year they did something and they wanted.
Schools and the library both
Well, I wonder
had
if we did
programs.
something more proactive, like honor an individual or something. From the city, or some more history in the city, or something that would make it more, okay, we're honoring it, but how are we doing it? Let's do something about it. So,
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, anybody have any miscellaneous for caucus?
Yeah, I have one thing.
Greg?
So we mentioned it during the Finance Committee meeting, during the Golf Advisory Board meeting the other night, the topic of the golf course and the restaurant and the banquet facility came up. We had quite a bit of discussion about that, and we were talking not only about the contract, and thank you, Sarah, for being there to answer those questions, but the question came up, is the Burtwood Group servicing, our golfers the way we think that they should be? I won't speak for my other colleagues here, but I remember very vividly, personally, when we were going through that contract, and I said on multiple occasions, I think that they should bend over backwards to service our golfers. It's my opinion that I don't think they are. So Mayor, I appreciate that you had a meeting with them. I hope that we can see some changes there. There's 37,700 rounds that went through there this year. And I can only speak, again, I've never had a bad experience up there, but I know that it should be crazy easy to walk off that golf course and get a drink, get a sandwich, sit there, not have to wait and check in, see the cart person a couple times per round, those kind of things.
Yeah, I think those, you kind of touched on, but I think the three main topics that we organized a meeting just for the residents to understand, just to kind of reflect over last year and talk about ways that the restaurant can accommodate the golfers better. We shared some of the concerns that we've received from the golfers, and I know they want to do that. That it's a new part of their business to be in the golf industry. So a lot of the conversations revolved around kind of three subjects: the hours and the way that the snack bar is running, in terms of not being open early in the morning, and we kind of talked about tee times and when people should be there. We got some positive feedback on that. We also talked about when golfers come off the course, have an area that is part of the patio that they can sit down, they can hang out, whether it's a server or not, or just use the snack bar to do that. And then the beverage cart. And I know the beverage cart, they proactively work to change the liquor license some so that they can offer more things on the beverage cart. So I know that they want to do it. I know staffing was a big issue last year, so they really haven't had a full, and I'm not defending them, they haven't had a full, normal season there. They started in COVID, they worked through, every industry, especially the service industry. Restaurant business has gone through staffing issues, but as Brian shared, there's definitely room for improvement, and we're optimistic that we're going to see some positive changes this year. So it's something that I'm part of the league, Mr. Fruit part of the league. We see it on a weekly basis, and I'm hoping that there are some good changes this year for the upcoming season.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That's all I had.
Did it, Greg? Anybody else?
I had something.
Yes.
Daisy and I met with Sarah for our nice Finance 101 course, which was great. Thank you, Sarah. One of my friends had suggested that over the bridge, when you're coming off the exit by Blue Canyon, that we put some kind of flags or something identifying it as Twinsburg, something a little more festive than just regular plain bridge. She suggested flags or something decorative there across the bridge.
On 82?
On the bridge as you drive
When
under
you're coming,
the bridge?
Yes, yeah, that
Okay,
bridge.
like Streetsboro has something on theirs, I think it's an American flag or something.
Yeah, I mean, different cities, if you're
Yeah,
going up 271,
can't
have
really
different
be
American
honest with that.
flags or whatever,
But
but,
you would see driving on the highway?
yeah, on the
Okay.
highway, yeah. So I don't know, I thought it was a good idea, since Twinsburg is, I mean, there's so many ways that we can identify it, so, I don't know, something to think about. I don't know what you guys thought about that.
Well, on that same line, I had actually a non-resident approach me and say, all the work that's being done up by the Chrysler plant in different areas, our entrance signs coming into the city really need to be looked at. We know we talked about it, we actually had a design that was presented years ago.
Right.
That looked great, we just have never.
Didn't do it.
So that's something that I may look at, refreshing. I don't know when we'll do it or the timing, but we could probably do it in-house, but, we could systematically start replacing our entrance signs. There's probably 6 or 8 points around the city that would make sense.
Take a look next time you're in the Beechwood area at like 271 in Chagrin and some of their major intersections. I know they had Stainless Works out of Streetsboro do the Beechwood script on just a simple sign. And it's a, I don't know if they're illuminated or not, but from what I gathered from their mayor, they were affordable. They're stainless steel. I mean, that's what this company does. They used to be a Bainbridge company. They're at Streetsboro now.
Originally proposed was, stone and stainless steel. That was really.
We have a cool, I like our Twinsburg script. It's a good font for something like that. I mean, even just a simple, look at the freeway exits.
I like that Solon just built.
Yeah,
right
Solon
off the
just built,
freeway. When you come off the freeway exit,
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
boom, you're in Solon.
Right. My guess
91.
is from a cost standpoint, that one Solon sign.
That's
we
a
could do-
25,000.
40 grand.
Right, we could do five. We could do five stainless steel.
David
just-
Post is the expert on what a sign costs.
I will tell you everything.
He ran the Ethan's project for
Yeah.
2 years.
That's right.
So he's
$21.7 million.
But anyway, I thought of it when you mentioned that. It's something that, we definitely need to look at.
Dave wants a
We've talked about it
sign.
for
Wants to be on the
years.
Twinsburg sign.
As I said, let David post it.
Those signs are built beneath the green every sign, under 10,000.
Yeah.
Actual sign, under 10,000. Each one.
Yeah.
All right, so that's something to chew on, right, Mayor? Okay. Anybody else? Good idea. Okay, then the caucus is adjourned, and we will get back together at 7:30 for council.